Hello everyone, Alan Sens here, and welcome to this segment on the world's nuclear arsenals, part 2. In this segment, we're looking at delivery systems. It's generally accepted that nuclear weapons are a combination of two elements, the warhead on the one hand and the delivery system on the other. So in this segment, we're going to focus in on the delivery systems. What types are there and who has them? Let's get started. So by the time we're done, you should be familiar with the approximate number and type of delivery systems possessed by each nuclear armed state. Don't worry about precise numbers, just have a general sense of the capabilities of each of these countries. Now, just as it's hard to count warheads, it's also hard to count delivery systems. First of all, there's the secrecy problem again. Countries are not forthcoming with their delivery systems, types, and capabilities, and they tend to be fairly closely guarded secrets. So that makes it hard. It's also hard to count dual-use delivery systems. These are systems that can carry both nuclear warheads and a conventional warhead. So how do we count those? What role are they currently being used for in the arsenal of that country? That's a difficult question to answer, and so our counting, our inventory of delivery systems becomes complicated as a result. Well, there are 5 official nuclear armed states in the world under the Non-Proliferation Treaty, so let's have a look at each in turn. And we're going to start off with the Russian Federation. The Russian Federation has a number of delivery systems, a number of warheads, and also some notes on the modernization program that may be underway. And we're going to use this for all of the countries we're going to look at. So you can see here that Russia has 318 intercontinental ballistic missiles. These are missiles with ranges of 5,500 kilometers or more. And those 318 missiles can carry 1,138 warheads. Russia also has about 72 medium-range ballistic missiles or short-range ballistic missiles, about 68 bombers capable of carrying 616 warheads, and 13 ballistic missile submarines capable of carrying a total of 212 submarine-launched ballistic missiles capable of carrying a total of 768 warheads. So these are the key numbers for the Russian Federation, and what this tells us is that the Russian Federation has delivery systems capable of launching nuclear weapons based on sea, in the air, and on land. And when we have a country capable of that, we say that they possess a triad, a nuclear triad. Now, Russia is also in the middle of an extensive modernization program, and you can see some of those programs on the right of this chart. Our next country up is the United Kingdom, and the UK is quite different from the Russian Federation in that it is an example of a country that, if you like, has taken all of its nuclear warhead eggs and place them into one delivery system basket. So the entire UK arsenal is based around 4 ballistic missile submarines with 48 submarine-launched ballistic missiles. Only one of those submarines with about 40 warheads is deployed at any one time. The other submarines will be in rest, repair, or refit. So that's the UK arsenal. Next country up is France, and France is broadly similar to the UK. The only real difference is they have about 20 bombers capable of carrying nuclear-tipped, air-launched cruise missiles, ALCMs. They have 4 ballistic missile submarines capable of carrying 64 submarine-launched ballistic missiles, but again, like the UK, only one of those submarines is deployed at any one time, capable of carrying about 80 warheads. Then we have China. Now, China is a bit of a different story in that their arsenal is a little less clear to us, but we believe they have about 62 ICBMs, about 96 medium and short-range ballistic missiles, about 20 bombers, and about 4 submarine-launched ballistic missiles with, ballistic missile submarines with 48 submarine-launched ballistic missiles capable of carrying, we think, 48 warheads. So that's the Chinese arsenal, and then the Chinese, therefore, as well, have a triad. And last, but certainly not least, is the United States. Now, the United States has, of course, a very large arsenal, and there's a major modernization program underway in the United States as well. The United States has about 400 intercontinental ballistic missiles, about 49 bombers, and 14 ballistic missile submarines capable of carrying a total of 280 submarine-launched ballistic missiles with a total of 945 warheads. So again, we have to say the United States then too possesses a nuclear triad. Now, of course, there are 4 additional or other nuclear-armed states in the world, so let's take a quick look at those. First up is Israel. Israel's arsenal we actually know very little about, so a lot of these figures are kind of conjectural. We think about 25 to 100 medium-range and short-range ballistic missiles. We're not sure how many of their aircraft are capable of carrying nuclear warheads. We think maybe 30. We're pretty sure they don't have any ballistic missile submarines, but we believe they may have 3 submarines capable of launching sea-launched cruise missiles tipped with nuclear warheads. But again, we're not really clear. So there's a lot we don't know about the Israeli nuclear arsenal. When we come to India, India's nuclear arsenal is growing quite significantly and quite quickly. We believe they have about 54 medium-range and short-range ballistic missiles. We're not sure how many bombers and strike aircraft they have that are capable of carrying nuclear weapons. And we know they have 2 ballistic submarines with 12 SLBM. But what is interesting about India is the modernization program. They are developing an ICBM, several new regional, medium and short-range nuclear missiles. They have an air-launched cruise missile in development and are building 2 more ballistic missile submarines. So this is an arsenal that's going to be growing quite quickly over the near future. Then, of course, we come to Pakistan. And Pakistan is similarly quite interesting and undergoing a significant modernization program as well. We think about 60 or so medium and short-range ballistic missiles, maybe about 36 bombers and strike aircraft. We know they don't have any ballistic missile submarines, but we believe there is a submarine-launched cruise missile in development, in addition to other developments in the Pakistani nuclear modernization program. And then we have North Korea. And of course, we know very little about this. We think maybe 6 intercontinental ballistic missiles. But again, we're not really sure about that or how reliable and capable they are. We think about 150 or so medium and short-range ballistic missiles. Maybe about 80 bombers and strike aircraft capable of carrying nuclear weapons. And while we believe they have submarine, ballistic missile submarines, under development, we don't think they have any at this present time. So again, a lot that we don't know here. We'll talk about North Korea a lot later. So just the last point I want to make before closing, a reminder that this is really the tip of the iceberg when we look at warheads and delivery systems. We have to remember that behind all of those systems is an enormous amount of resources, facilities, funding, and of course personnel that's required to maintain them. Here's an example. Let me just look at a few American B-52 bombers. So these are nuclear-capable aircraft. They would fire nuclear-tipped air-launched cruise missiles. But look at the airfield. You have all the crews. You have all the personnel required to keep the airfield running. You've got fuel. You've got repairs. All of this is an enormous expense to keep these aircraft flying and capable of using nuclear weapons. Similarly, if we look at this picture here of an Ohio-class ballistic missile submarine, we've counted the warheads and we've counted the missile systems on board and we've counted the submarine itself. But here it is under refit and repair in an enormous dry dock. Think of all the personnel necessary to maintain the submarine. This dry dock is on a naval base, one of the big ones in the United States, which has thousands of personnel working in it. And you begin to get a sense of the enormous expenditure involved in maintaining nuclear arsenals, not only in the United States, but around the world. So, by now, you should be familiar with the approximate number and type of delivery systems possessed by each nuclear-armed state. Okay, that's just a quick overview. I mean, don't get too wrapped up in the minor details of the numbers, but you should have a pretty good idea of what each country has and what their nuclear structure or force structure looks like. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you again soon.